Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good, and we are going to now talk about the changes that are there that has been introduced in the SCR exam for 2026 attempt. Okay, we're going to be comparing the 2025 and 2026 and what are the major changes that are being brought in into this exam in today's video. Okay, first of all, a brief introduction about SCR. SCR is Sustainability and Climate Risk Certification, and who's providing it? It's GARP, which is Global Association of Risk Professional, the body which also conducts the exam for FRM and RAI. Now, this certification has over the years has stand out to be a very good certification which gives you the basic understanding of overall concept of sustainability and how climate risk has to be assessed by banks, financial institutions, and businesses. Okay, so from that perspective, this certification is a must if you want to start out a career in the sustainability and climate risk space. Okay, now this exam is a one single shot exam as of now with around 90 questions, and all the questions are in the MCQ format. Okay, who should be interested to go for these exams? Right now what I've seen is students or candidates who want to transition into sustainability space, want to enter and do some work related to ESG also, climate risk space, they should be doing it. Okay, this certification primarily focuses on the finance angle of it. Okay, which means the bank, financial institutions, or major businesses where sustainability is going to be implemented, SCR is going to be very helpful for them. Okay, it improves your chance in the market, okay, with respect to jobs for climate risk, ESG, and sustainability related roles. Okay, let me just quickly walk you through the basics of this exam. Okay, and when the exams are conducted. Okay, the exam is conducted in April and October. Okay, these are the registration windows. Now, if you're going for the April exam, okay, 31st of January is the early bird deadline, okay, for the exam registration. Okay, if you miss that payment, the fees will increase. Okay, similarly, the exam window is from 18th of April to 26th. Now there's been a slight change in the previous attempts. Okay, the exam was only supposed to be a in-person test center exam. That means you have to book the exam, book the location, center, time, and date. But now you can also give the exam on in your home. Okay, so there is an online proctoring available right now. Okay, so the exam is in April, the exam is in October, the exam windows have been highlighted over here. Okay, what are the broader topics that have been covered in the exam? So right now there are 10 chapters. Gradually what they've done, when they started out, initially chapter was 7, then they added the 8th one, and the last year they added 2 new chapters. Okay, if you look at the bifurcation of the questions, okay, the last 2 chapters are very small in terms of their exam weightage, but they also test you on the case study from this chapter. Okay, then there is a chapter which is climate model and scenario, slightly heavy weightage, okay, which is tested over here, and also climate risk measurement and management. These topics are important from the exam perspective. Okay, that's the overall bifurcation of the chapters. 10 chapters, 90 questions, and around 4 hours in the exam. Okay, now when you look at the changes which has been brought into 2026, the first chapter, okay, the first chapter, which is foundation of climate risk, okay, no change, almost the same learning objectives are getting repeated. Okay, there's ultimately no changes in the curriculum. Okay, when we talk about sustainability, okay, which is the second chapter, the concept of greenwashing and LCA, okay, life cycle assessment, has been added. In fact, greenwashing was previously there in the curriculum. Okay, but what they've done is they've just expanded that concept. Okay, so greenwashing, what action has to be taken, those details have been already added. So 2 new learning objectives has been covered in this chapter. Okay, life cycle assessment, a brief was there, but now they have explicitly added a learning objective talking about life cycle assessment in detail. So that is one change that has happened for the chapter number 2. Climate risk, climate change risk, which is one of the important chapter in the curriculum because it talks about the physical and the transition risk. Okay, and that's the base of your overall climate risk. But again, no major changes over here, so nothing to worry about from the 2025 to 2026 curriculum change perspective. Okay, further when we talk about the next chapter, okay, 2 new topics or learning objectives have been added: nature related risk and sector based climate policies. Okay, 2 new learning objectives have been added, and plus what they've done is certain topics which are like carbon pricing, which was there but it was very briefly discussed in the 2025 curriculum. Now they have gone much more in detail, okay, and they've just expanded that learning objective, right? From the change perspective, 2 new learning objectives and 1 learning objective has been expanded, okay? So remember that from the exam perspective. The next chapter, okay, almost the same, no change, okay, very good. It's basically the 5th number chapter, okay, green and sustainable finance. Okay, sorry, there's been a change, my bad. There's been a change of new learning objective, but this actually learning objective, which is related to customer facing sustainable finance product, was there in the previous topic also. In the sense, previous chapter was also added, and over here, okay, the sustainable funds, green funds, then we also talked about green bond. It is there in the curriculum, okay. Sustainable finance definition and taxonomy was there. It has been expanded, okay. The products have been updated and few expansion has already happened, okay. So new consumer based product, and these are the products and the regulatory trade that has been added in this chapter, which is the chapter number 5th, okay. 6th chapter is ideally very important from the exam perspective, okay. Now when we look at the expansion that has happened, okay, so over here data types model, because this chapter, when it was created also, okay, the focus of the chapter was to give you the flavor of modeling, okay. And in this chapter or the next chapter, climate var was already there, okay, but it was just 2 or 3 lines covered in one small paragraph talking about climate related var, but that entire thing has been added. So I am expecting this to be tested in the upcoming exam. Plus the ERM part, again this was there in the net zero chapter also, briefly being added, but again they have expanded it, okay, in this chapter also, giving you the overall view of how climate risk should become a part of your enterprise risk management framework. Next, portfolio level transition risk and physical risk. Previously, if you look at the 2025 curriculum also, in the previous chapter, which is the 3rd chapter, transition and physical risk was added from the perspective of the company. But over here, when you're doing modeling, they have explicitly talked it that when you have a portfolio of say loans, how do you look at transition risk and physical risk for that particular portfolio? And hence this connects to the first change that they have made with respect to the models, okay. So big change in chapter number 6, okay, major inclusion being the climate var. Chapter number 7, okay, net zero scenarios have been added. Now if you read this chapter, they have talked about the scenarios in the 2025 curriculum also, because this chapter is continuation of the 6th chapter. In the 6th chapter, they're just giving you the brief of how do you do the estimation, what is the method, and in this chapter they talked about the models. So this was also there previously in 2025, but the scenarios are being updated, okay, and scenarios from non-financial firm perspective has also been added, okay. Again, the flavor of physical and transition risk has been added. Slight update has also happened, okay. Few use cases have been added on the exam perspective, okay. This chapter, which is the net zero chapter, okay, few changes with respect to sector based decarbonization. Now this concept of sector based decarbonization was already there, but they expanded it, okay. They're focusing more on the challenges and portfolio alignment metrics. Now if you have read the curriculum, the old one, they have given you the names of the portfolio alignment metrics, but now what they've done is they've also talked about the calculation aspect of it, okay. So again, I expect this being a very big change, okay, and the sector based specific decarbonization again being very big change, okay. So new learning objectives and expansion has also happened in this chapter. This chapter is actually a very low weightage chapter, okay. The next chapter, which is the 9th, where you see very big changes, okay. Now IFRS S1 and S2 standards, again, why are they talking about this? Because TCFD has been replaced with TNFD, okay. Task force for nature based financial disclosure has been added. Then these ISSB scenarios, which are now widely used by the overall community in sustainability and climate risks part, that has also been updated, and the TCFD was basically connected to the IFRS S1 and S2 standard, which was there in the previous 2025 curriculum also, but now they have revised it and added more explicit detail about it, okay. So again, all of these changes, students who are preparing with us for the upcoming exam, we will be adding it in the month of January end also, or February mid. We'll be adding all of these new changes in your curriculum, so do not worry about it, okay. This part, the nature risk definition and climate risk. Now these changes are there, but again they're not a very big change as we see in the curriculum, because the broader trend has been physical and transition risk. They have tried to incorporate it in all the chapters. Okay, all the chapters. So this is a common theme that is being there. Drivers of nature and water risk. Water risk was already there in the 9th chapter in 2025. Nature risk was already there. They have expanded and they have explicitly talked about the risk factors. The 10 chapters, again they have added few references. Okay, transition planning was new concept last year, because companies who identify that there is a transition risk, how do we move towards the net zero position, how do we analyze our carbon based reporting to our regulator. Okay, so principles of good transition planning has been added, and what are the major things that you have to adopt, okay, with respect to reporting, carbon based reporting, that has also been expanded over here. Okay, few more changes which are here also. PCF again mark this as star. SBIT net zero target setting is being added in the curriculum. Okay, a major change in this chapter and the previous two chapters. Again, the main accounting based aspect has been added, which is finance emission and attribution factor. I am expecting this to be also important for the upcoming exam. So a good amount of change in the SCR curriculum this year. Again, what the focus of the institution is to not add one more level, but to expand the existing level. And in the next few years, I expect more chapters being added in the SCR curriculum. So if you're planning to give the exam, okay, or you want to get into the sustainability space, this is the right time, and the curriculum is also small. Okay, you can easily clear the exam. As you delay your decision, more number of chapters can add. Now, one question which a lot of students might have is that, will there be any change for October? Okay, this is generally for 2026, but previously what we have seen is the Garb Institute has also made a change in between the year. Okay, so April last and October there was a change. So over here also what I'm trying to tell you is that if you wish to go for the exam, go for April exam. It's a small exam, you can immediately prepare. But if you push your exam to October, there can be some changes from the institute. Okay, so that's the broader changes that we have seen for all the 10 chapters of your SCR curriculum. Okay, if you're preparing for the upcoming exam, we have two plans for you, which is the basic and the standard. Okay, basic has all the question bank, summary PPTs, chapter wise PPTs, mock papers, exam specific mock papers, all of them available. And the standard pack is also with the video lecture. Okay, we have more than 1000 plus actual exam related questions, which means there are students who have cleared the exam and they have solved our questions, and they've verified that yes, this question quality is really good. Okay, so you can have a look at that, and these plans are available on our website also. You can visit our website. And people who are preparing for the upcoming exam, we have also had a lot of success stories, okay, of students who have cleared the exam, so you can watch their videos and learn from their journey, learn from their mistakes. Okay, so there are many more videos that are going to come in the future. Industry interaction, we have been doing a lot of podcasts trying to understand what overall the sector is performing. Okay, what is the new skill that is needed in the industry, what is the career requirement. So we have talked a lot about that, and that is all being covered in our interviews, okay, in the podcast. And if you're new to our channel, you can subscribe to our channel and like and share this video, because anybody who's preparing for the upcoming SCR exam, you should know what are the changes that are coming in. Okay, so thank you again for joining in. If you have any such queries, you can put it on the comment section of this video. Okay, I'll personally address it, or else you can put a message on this WhatsApp number and we'll try to help you out for your preparation. Okay, so thank you again for joining in.